Hi guys, this is Jacob Hansen, Ira's son. Again, going over a few of the changes that we're making with payroll. So we're changing our pricing structure to try and incentivize you guys to, make money on every job by, knowing what the job cost is compared to what you're charging. And we will reward you based on that. Okay, so what we're doing, I know people get a little bit nervous when you're changing payroll structures around, but please know that when I built this not with any changes to the amounts that you are going to be paid. It's just a change in the way that they are calculated. You will be paid a higher percentage, but your percentage will be based on, instead of gross sales, they will be charged based on net sales. Okay, now first of all, just from a high level, I want to tell you there's two options now. You now no longer only have one option for payroll. You can actually choose which payroll option you want. The first one is our rolling percentage model. Now this one is very, very similar to the way that we've been doing it, where you get a certain percentage of the amount of, right now it's of sales. This new model will be you'll get a percentage of net sales. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. The other one is our hourly plus bonus structure. Okay, this one you get an hourly rate. And then if you hit a certain amount of net sales, then you will get paid, you will get a bonus every month. So you kind of have that security of, for the hours you're working, that you're getting paid. This structure, the rolling percentage, it kind of, you're willing to roll with the punches. It may move up or down a little more. However, you have a much greater opportunity to make more money with the rolling percentage model. Okay, I always say the hourly plus bonus gives you security, but less opportunity. Okay, the rolling percentage gives you a lot of opportunity, but it can't, you can have a great month and you can have a little bit of a slow month. But on the whole, I believe you would make more money on the rolling percentage than you will with an hourly plus bonus. However, you can make that choice of whatever you would like. Okay. So before I go into exactly these, I want to tell you a little bit about this number, net sales, because so much is based around your net sales. So every month you will get a statement like this that will basically say what your total sales were, what your materials were by supplier. So if you bought 80, like this, in this case, we're using Steven as an example. He did 28,000 in sales, let's say. He did 8,500 in materials at Western. And then he had $825 in what we call other job costs. So these were tool rentals. These were casual laborers that he had working on the jobs with him, all of that. And that's what gives you net sales. So it's 28,000 minus this, minus the 8,500, minus the materials, minus any of the other costs associated with the jobs, gives him that net sales number of 18,000. Okay, and then there's a certain percentage applied to that number. So let's go back and talk about that for a minute. So with net sales, what you have here is you will receive, if you've worked with the company for 0 to 1 years, you will receive 28% of your net sales. So what this translates into is if you do $24,000 in sales, okay, you should have a net sales of about $16,000. 537 if you followed the pricing guide and were charging correctly. That's what your net sales should be. Your monthly pay would then be $4,600 for that month, and that taken out annually is $55,000 a year. Now, after you've been with the company longer, if you keep the same amount of sales, but you've been with us for more than 3 years, you would make $4,900 a month and $59,000 a year. Now, this is based on $24,500. We consider that to be pretty average for a sales plumber. If you're below that, you're doing a little bit worse. If you're doing higher than that, you're doing better. And so, you could see if you did 30,000 in sales, let's change this number, you would make 72,000 that year if you were able to do 30,000 each month. So that's, a pretty good wage from what we understand as far as in the plumbing world. So you have an opportunity to make a lot of good money. Now, we'll take a look here, and you can see the percentage just goes up year by year, and then it holds off at 30. That's the max that we can do. Now, The next structure is the hourly plus bonus structure. So on this one, the way that it works is you get an hourly. So if you've been with us for 0 to 1 years, you get $21 an hour as kind of your base. But remember, you have a very aggressive bonus if you can hit a certain sales number. Now, an average plumber should be able to do net sales between 13 and 16,000. That's a $500 bonus that month. Okay, so it takes that 3,300 up to 3,800. Now, if they do between 16 and 19, which a good plumber will do that, they should get an extra $800 bonus, which takes it up to 41,600, which is 49,000 a year. Now, if we go on up to you're doing great, then you're up to 4,500 a month, and that comes out to be 5,400 or 54,000 a year. Now that's if you've only been with us for 1 year. But if you've been with us for 3 years, well then you're making 25 an hour plus those bonuses. So again, 4,000, or if you can hit the good sales numbers or the good net sales numbers that we have here, then you are going to get the higher pay. So this one has that security of the hourly. This one is purely based on commission. Okay, so let me real quickly go over one other thing in the statement so you fully understand how this works. So if Steven here, if this was his month, like we went over those numbers before, and his net sales were 18,675, if he's been with us for more than 3 years, therefore it's a 30% commission applied to that number, and he gets 5602. Now, here is the thing that will happen throughout the month. So during the month, you will report your hours. Every week we will pay you essentially based on your estimated hours. You'll just tell us, yeah, I think I worked about 40 hours last week. I worked a full week. We will pay you $20 per hour, okay? And so let's say that you worked, $20 an hour, 40, you made $4,000 in the hourly that you were reporting this month that we just paid you straight up. Okay, meaning, so every week you're going to get money coming in. But then at the end of the month, we're going to figure out, okay, did we overpay you this month or did we underpay? In this case, let's say, Steven, we paid him $4,000 so far this month, but he did, we technically owed him $5,600. Well, then he would get a bonus of whatever, that would be about $1,600. However, in this case, we have a deductions line where we would deduct out, let's say he went and bought some really fancy new tool or something else that, that the company deducted from. It deducted $150, so he really gets a $1,400 bonus on his next paycheck. Okay, so what we would do, if you could imagine that it's the first week of September and you're looking back at August, you'd say, okay, this is how much he did in sales. This is how much his materials were. These were his net sales. This was his commission. Okay, we already paid him in August $4,000, so how much more do we owe him? Well, we'd owe him $1,600, but he did buy some tools, so we'll take that out, and what we owe him now is $1,400. So on his next paycheck, we would pay him that $1,452. Okay, and then we would track this, so every month you'd get a little statement so you could see exactly what you're making from the company. Okay, so that is the structure that we're going to be implementing. And it really is going to be based on this net sales number. That's the number that you want to get up there. And the way you do that is by, making a difference between what it costs on a job, all these materials and other job costs, and what you're charging the customer. We have the minimum pricing standards that you can use. Those should keep you on track to be making good money on the jobs that you're doing. And with that, you'll do pretty well. One other thing I do want to make you aware of is on the pricing sheet, if you open it up, it has on here the net sales. So for instance, if it costs $30 in materials for the job and you charge $135, your net sales would be $105, you can see on that job. Whereas let's say you do a big water heater job where it's $800 for the water heater, you charge $1,600, your net sales on that would be $800 for that one job. So anyway, that's a way for you to keep track of things. That's the new pricing structure, and if you have any questions, you can let me know. Thanks a lot.